In the year 2000, Disney said, what if we made a movie with no princess, no romance, and every line is a joke? Enter Kuzco, self-absorbed, fabulous, and one bad vial of poison away from a personal growth arc. Because today, we're talking about The Emperor's New Groove.
Boom, baby.
Welcome to the No More Late Fees podcast. I'm Danielle.
And I'm Jackie, and we're just two best friends and ex-Blockbuster employees rewatching some of the best and worst movies from the late 90s and early 2000s. This week, we're getting our groove back by talking about The Emperor's New Groove from 2000. But before we dive in, let's get into some housekeeping. If you love the podcast and you want to support us, here is a way that you can.
You could buy us some coffee because we love to stay caffeinated. Just head over to ko-fi.com/no more late fees and help us keep the Blockbuster vibes alive.
And we're not flying solo today. Laura's back with us, ready to talk llamas, poison, and peak Disney chaos. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome back, Laura.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
If you want to learn more about Laura, make sure you check out her previous episodes of The Fifth Element, Power Rangers, the movie, and Practical Magic. Plus, you won't want to miss this week's bonus episode where we draft the most chaotic Disney dinner party. Okay, Jackie, what is this movie about?
The Emperor's New Groove is about spoiled Emperor Kuzco, who's transformed into a llama after a botched assassination attempt by his power-hungry advisor Yzma. Stranded far from his palace, Kuzco must rely on kind-hearted peasant Pacha to get home, learning humility, empathy, and the meaning of friendship along the way. It stars David Spade, John Goodman, Eartha Kitt, and Patrick Warburton. It was directed by Mark Dindal, and it was written by David Reynolds, Chris Williams, and Mark Dindal. And you can currently watch it on Disney+. But before we start, let's get into our ratings rewind.
So, you know the drill. Before we get into the movie, we will reveal the rating our Y2K versions of ourselves would give, and then at the end, we'll see if our current selves agree with our initial rating. Our scale consists of would buy it again,
The best would play it on repeat,
5-day rental,
would watch again,
2-day rental,
okay, but nothing to write home about,
and same-day rental.
trash, straight up trash. I couldn't think of a good thing for...
Pull the lever, because it's trash!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, Laura, what is your Y2K rating of The Emperor's New Groove?
Well, this will come as a surprise to no one. It is a would buy it again.
Excellent.
You're even wearing your ears.
I got my ears. Thank you, Gab. Shout out.
And your shirt.
My shirt, it has Kuzco. You can't see him, but it says no touchy. There he is. Love him so much. And I have my squeaker cup. Shout out to Amber.
Nice.
Well, for me, also would buy it again. Instant classic. I as well have my Kuzco's Poison mug, which one side is the folded down side and one side is the llama side. Thank
Did
you,
I get
Amber.
you a bag? Or is that
I don't
something
have
different?
a lounge fly.
Oh, no, it was...
And I went through the archives and I pulled out, I talk frequently about my sex violence and Hollywood feminine women's studies class, but I wrote a paper about Kronk's shoulder angels and how they were sexist. So, and in it, I was reading it and I call Kuzco Kuzco.
That's an excerpt. Like, give us a line.
Sure. He is not really evil or conniving. Rather, he simply doesn't realize that Yzma is using him. There is a pivotal plot point in the movie where Kronk is told to kill Kuzco. He takes a bag containing an unconscious Kuzco out of the palace to dispose of him. His other ever faithful shoulder angel and shoulder devil pop up to weigh the pros and cons of what he is about to do. And then it says, there was another aspect to this segment that made me choose it. When the devil is trying to convince Kronk to act in an evil way, he insults the angel by saying he has a sissy, stringy music thing. He also calls the angel's robe a dress, further making him look like less of a man in Kronk's eyes. The devil puts the angel down by using feminine insults to make himself look better. This provokes the angel to hit the devil over the head with his sissy, stringy music thing. This act of violence is a classic example of Gilligan's theory of insults being a catalyst for violence. The whole segment is cartoonish and silly, but it still manages to touch on real issues such as good and evil, right and wrong, homophobia, and shaming.
Ooh.
Yes, she loves my whole thing. We had to write 3 short articles. The other one, which she asked for a copy of, is like all the serial killer movies are just faces of the serial killers on the cover box. She loved it and asked for a copy so that she could teach it in future. So,
Oh.
Yes. Would buy it again. Danielle?
And I'm really, really, really sorry, ladies. We've talked about this on the show before that I have not seen this movie. There's a time frame of Disney movies that is like a blind spot for me. And when I watched this movie, I realized one of the reasons why there's no singing in it. So, I mean, even though I didn't see Hercules either, so I don't know if that's a hard explanation, but I have never seen this movie. I've seen so many clips, but when I watched it, nothing felt familiar. So I knew it wasn't just like, oh, I forgot I watched it. I've never seen it. So apologies.
I'm interested to see opinions.
But hopefully you guys can give me some, like, answer some of the questions I had. One, what ethnic group, where is this supposed to be taking place? To me, it felt like maybe like Central America.
It's in Peru, right?
Okay.
Sarah?
Yeah, like that's the region.
Yeah.
I imagine just like that region. Like I thought it was meant to be like more Incan, inspired from there, but obviously there's no like direct, like this is what it's supposed to represent, but definitely indigenous, obviously. So I thought, yeah, like Central America.
Yep, Incan Empire in ancient Peru.
Gotcha. Okay. So these are supposed to represent people of color.
Yes.
Okay. And so then I was just like, and there's no indigenous voice actors. There's no Latin American voice actors, and only one person of color, which is Eartha Kitt, who kills it. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
Because it just kept taking me out of the movie because I'm looking at these faces and I'm not. Have you ever seen those memes like, I hear my people but don't see my people? It's the opposite. I see my people but don't hear them. So that kind of.
And David Spade and John Goodman, as in particular, have such distinct voices. It's hard not to envision them.
Yes,
these characters.
Same with Patrick and Eartha. Yeah. All of them have very, like, who they are.
Yeah.
So that it did take me out of the movie a lot. But I will say, despite that opportunity that Disney had to have the voice actors match, and they've done it in the past where they've made sure there was something there. But David Spade, this is him. He is this character.
Yes.
So I'll give that to them for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, right. It's me.
So tell us about the box office, Danielle.
Okay. The movie had a budget of $100 million and it grossed $169 million. And I can imagine that's not a huge hit for Disney per se.
And I'm wondering, because we will get into the facts on this, but it was supposed to be a completely different movie.
Right. I did see that. Like, didn't they like make an almost a full finished movie?
I think they had already like storyboarded it. Sting was working on all of the songs for it. And then they just decided, because Hunchback was really dark in tone And then I think Atlantis was another darker film that they wanted to kind of completely 180 and just full-fledged comedy. So they scrapped the entire Prince and the Pauper, but Incan storyline.
I thought I read somewhere that like the majority of the movie as well was ad-libbed because they
Yes.
didn't have a proper script for it.
I could imagine that.
And it's super weird because this movie came out the same year The Road to El Dorado came out, and I believe that's also a either Central
Mm,
American or South American based movie. So confusing. Yes.
yeah. But I don't know if that $100 million budget included the previous iteration that they had been working on, because I feel
Mm.
like that's a pretty high budget for what the movie is. Unless, but I can't even imagine like David Spade and John Goodman were paid a ton.
But I think animation just costs more because it takes so much time. It takes at least 2 to 3 years to do one. So
Yeah.
in the box office, the opening weekend was What Women Want at number one, Dude, Where's My Car? How the Grinch Stole Christmas, then Emperor's New Groove, and then Vertical Limit. I'm sure, just like we were talking about before, they did not see Dude, Where's My Car
No.
as being competition. And they were wrong.
As they should be.
The movie underperformed compared to other Disney releases, especially against How the Grinch Stole Christmas, but found massive success later on home video. Roger Ebert, Lil Rod, you ready for what he said?
Ready.
He gave it 3 out of 4 stars. The Emperor's New Groove is a goofy slapstick cartoon, a transparent excuse to string together the sight gags, and the characters are slapped together too. I actually found myself enjoying Kuzco. Emma Cochran at Empire gave it 3 out of 5 stars, saying it's an attractive, generally enjoyable concoction, but never really hits its comedic or emotional targets full on.
I have rebuttal with that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh,
Tell that bitch.
well, because like even watching it today, and I have watched this movie faithfully for the
Right.
past 26 years.
Yeah, same.
It is one of my nappy time movies because it's like an hour and a half. So if I put it on, then I know when to get up is like when the credits roll. To say that it doesn't have emotional target when Cusco literally does a 180 and becomes best friends with this peasant family and like doesn't build his Cuscotopia and demolish their town and builds on the on the hill next to them so they can be together. Like, how is that not emotionally charged?
I will say I didn't like there's a lot of Disney movies there is a moment where I cry or feel something. I did not feel that for during this movie. Like I didn't feel emotional. It was uplifting and it felt nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if that's what she meant, but
Maybe. I could be biased.
I don't think it's an emotional heartstring kind of movie. It's a comedy.
Yeah. So it's like, what do you mean it never hit its comedic
It was
moment?
all
Like
comedy all
it's
the
comedy.
time.
It's like you start him crying in the forest and then you just go. But then again, 26 years of me loving this movie.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can't be impartial.
But what I love is that it's comedic without being cheesy.
Yes.
You know, like you're not cringing rewatching it. It still feels it feels like this is what it feels like watching it, and
Mm-hmm.
it feels fresh.
Yes. It's peak David Spade. It's peak Patrick Warburton. It's peak Eartha Kitt. Like they were all on top of their games while
Yeah.
making this movie.
Nobody out, like everybody, it was an ensemble for
Yes.
sure. Lisa Schwartzbaum from Entertainment Weekly called it a hip, funny, mostly non-musical, decidedly non-epic family picture. Bitch, bye. I don't know what that means.
She just throws word salad together and is like, review.
Right. I want to bring some of these critics on the show and say, well, when you said this, do you still feel this way? Epic wrong.
Yeah. Well, before we get into our cast and crew, let's hear a message from our pod pals.
Hello, kids of the 80s, 90s, and beyond. Radical Ryan Hunter here from the Radical Retro Rewind podcast. Join me along with everyone's favorite brother, David, and the movie geek Rob every Friday as we discuss everything from movies, TV, video games, music, action figures, and more. Every week's another adventure. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and most podcasting platforms. Hope to see you there, radical ones.
So our cast and crew, the character of Pacha, I'm assuming in the first iteration was maybe not, I don't know. Timelines are weird. The character of Pacha was written for Chris Farley, but he passed away before filming began.
I could see that. I mean, obviously with David Spade and Chris being so close, that would have made a lot of sense. Every time I was watching the movie, I couldn't figure out who I thought Pasha was in real life. Not the voice. I knew it was John Goodman, but it just felt like if there was a live action version of it, there was somebody like it was scratching my brain. And it was menopause. It's kicking my ass. Okay. And it was Nathan Fillion. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Him and John Goodman don't have exactly the same tone of voice, but just something about him just felt like if we did a live action, I could see him. He shouldn't because we, like I've already said, I
feel like they have similar facial
something about it. Yeah.
Would you believe that Chris Tucker, Michael J. Fox, Mike Myers, and Rowan Atkinson were all considered for the role of Kuzco?
I could believe it.
It would just be a different movie.
Mike Myers could totally do it.
Michael J. Fox would have been a slightly softer Kuzco.
Yes, but he has the sarcasm.
Yeah.
He is Alex B. Keaton.
That's true.
For life.
Chris Tucker, yes. Ruby Rod as Kuzco.
I think Chris Tucker would have I think it really would have been the Chris Tucker as Kuzco show.
Yeah.
If it was him. Like, he's just so larger than life.
Yeah.
And I don't think everybody else would have been able to shine as they did.
Rowan Atkinson. I love Mr. Bean. But I don't, because he's played Mr. Bean, I don't know when I've heard that man talk except when he was the jewelry man in Love Actually.
And Rat Race.
And Rat Race. And I don't remember what he sounded like in Rat Race.
I can give you an impression. Would you like it?
Oh, I would very much like to hear this.
I am weaning. Ooh, little cock doggies. Ass. We are hauling ass. Those are my favorite lines from Rat Race. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And see.
So Barbara Streisand was the original choice for the part of Yzma? There's no way.
No. There is only one choice for Yzma, and that is Eartha Kitt.
Facts.
She quickly became one of my favorite characters ever.
I was like, Danielle is going to love this villain.
She's not a villain. She's okay.
A businesswoman.
No, I know that I always stick up for a villain. She is dealing with an inept ruler who tried to fire her. She's like the people. She's for the people.
No, she's not. I love her, but she is not for the people.
She's for the people.
Remember, she's sitting on her little throne, and then there's a peasant kneeling, begging for food, and she's like, "It is no concern of mine whether you have," what was it again? And he's like, "Food?" And then she tells him, "You really should have thought of that before you became a peasant."
I mean, she's just trying to motivate him.
Do y'all remember when during the pandemic and we were supposed to get stimulus checks and people were using that audio of her as like the government? Like, You really should have thought of that before you became peasants, when everyone was like, these stimulus checks won't help us. Love her. She's not for the people.
She's not for the people.
She's
for the Yzma.
And
She's not even for the Kronk. Kronk is flavor of the week.
Kronk is this year's version, this year's model.
Yeah.
Kronk is a
late
great
20s.
himbo.
Oh, the best.
And I want one of those spinach puffs.
We went to Disney Trivia a couple weeks ago, and a strong contender for our team name was Kronk's Spinach Puffs. We went with Madame Zeroni will return in Avengers Doomsday.
Shout out.
And then the host of trivia did not know, like,
what you were talking about.
Deep trivia.
Right.
She's like, I don't know who Madame Zeroni is. And we're like, why are you here?
Why
Give
do
me
you
the
even
mic.
exist? Not here at trivia, but in life.
Yes.
I need you to find the nearest cliff and take a hike.
So when the movie was the original concept, Kingdom of the Sun, Owen Wilson was cast as the voice of Pacha. And that was because it was more a Prince and the Pauper like mistaken identity, where Pacha looked a lot like the Emperor. And so they needed someone that could kind of match the David Spade-esque-ness of it all.
I'm glad that went away.
Yeah.
Adam West? You mean Batman?
Batman.
I mean, we had Catwoman. Why not?
Adam West originally had a small role in the movie as a crazy elderly member of Pacha's village. On hearing that Pacha's newest llama was actually the emperor, he would offer to lend him his rebel army to help escape, only to reveal his army was made up of scarecrows. Although West recorded his scenes and the movie crew found him hilarious, the scene was never animated. That is a damn shame.
I want the army of scarecrows.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay.
We can't even get a director's cut because they never animated it.
Damn.
For shame. Okay. We ready to jump in?
Well, do you want to just talk about real quick the first iteration before we get into it? Because I would like to know.
Sure. So The Emperor's New Groove started out as a totally different movie, a very serious Disney musical. Danielle would have watched it. Called Kingdom of the Sun, inspired, like I said, by The Prince and the Pauper, with songs by Sting and a sweeping Incan epic vibe. But after testing poorly, despite being about half finished, and mixed reactions to more serious films like Hunchback and Atlantis, Disney scrapped almost everything, ditched the musical numbers, rebooted the story, and turned it into the fast, fourth wall breaking comedy we know today. And then early versions of the character of Yzma were actually male and more traditionally villainous. Eartha Kitt's casting completely reshaped Yzma. And then Kronk was initially meant to be a simple henchman, but Patrick Warburton's delivery was so funny that the character kept expanding.
As it should.
Oh, good.
Kronk, in my opinion, is the star of this show. And he got the spinoffs.
Yeah.
He did.
As he should.
As he should.
I just want to go back to this line, a sweeping Incan epic vibe, which they said, let's get Sting.
Incan icon, obviously.
Yeah. Very popular in Peru.
I think after they had Elton John with The Lion King and then
Phil Collins
with Tarzan, it became like this thing where they were like, oh, we'll just get some British pop star, rock star to sing for the whole album.
Yeah.
I'm glad they let that go.
Yeah. Well, funny enough, Sting's wife, Trudy Styler, made a documentary about the trouble getting this movie made and her husband's work on the movie. So her documentary never was released. It's called The Sweatbox and is owned by Disney, which it will never be released. But there are bootlegs online that you can find.
Ooh,
That's
I was
crazy.
looking for it, but I couldn't find it on like proper streaming.
Yeah, this says VidMe.
I got a guy. I got a guy. We'll see if we can find it.
So I thought that was interesting. And then the only song by Sting that actually made it into the final cut of the movie was My Funny Friend and Me, that plays during the credits. And that did garner him an Oscar nomination.
Isn't Tom Jones in this?
Yes.
Yeah.
With a little afro.
Yeah.
Get this. I got tea. So the makers of the movie originally wanted to get Sting to sing the opening song, but he said he was too old. They needed someone more young and hip. So they went to Tom Jones, who's 11 years older than Sting.
Sir Tom Jones.
They're like, we'll show you, Sting.
Wow.
And I mean, knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, Tom Jones, 10 out of 10. What's his name? Kuzco.
Are there any rides or anything that's Emperor's New Groove in the Disney parks?
No, but they just closed Dino Land and the dinosaur ride permanently. RIP, it just closed on the 1st, was the last day. They are revamping that whole area to make it South America. And so Dinosaur is going to turn into like an Indiana Jones
in
ride.
Epcot?
Animal Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
And then they're building an Encanto ride. But Emperor's New Groove would fit perfectly in that area. So I'm wondering if they do maybe like
a food thing
or something. Or maybe just like the characters appear there because now there's like a dedicated
space. Every once in a while I'll see a pin, right? That's like themed. And I don't really care about the pins, but I get excited because it's like so niche. Yeah. Same with like a Kingdom Hearts pin. I get very excited for that because they don't really push Kingdom Hearts.
Do they? It's gone. Continue.
Well, and so the thing with Patrick Warburton is like where you were introduced to him is what you refer to him as.
Yes.
So for a lot of people, it's Seinfeld. So he's Putty. For me, he's Kronk. He will always be Kronk. But he is also the flight attendant in Soarin'. And so I'm always like, oh, Kronk's going to tell us our safety briefing. So,
when we were there for Jackie's birthday and we were getting on Soarin' and that starts and he's there and I looked at her and I was like, it's Kronk. I've never seen him as a flight attendant. So that made me really happy.
Yeah. So it seems like even to this day, it seems like he has a good relationship with Disney. There was a TikTok probably about a year ago of him like in line for Soarin' and his little spiel comes on. And then his sons sound a lot like him.
Yeah,
so
I saw that.
Do the voices.
His characters. So.
Didn't they recently recreate his like flight attendant spiel where they even got the guy wearing the ears? But it's just like they're older now.
I'd have to look and see.
I thought I saw that like last year or something.
I love how he just leans into it hard.
I love it. Yeah.
But so, for me, I remember him as the Tick.
Oh, the Tick. Yes, that is another. He is such a character actor that. Okay, so we start out. A very sad llama in a rainstorm.
Doing the little like sobs.
And this movie is very almost, some people regard it as ahead of its time because it was a lot of adult humor. It was very fast paced. It broke the fourth wall. It was a lot of stuff in movies we see this today and even movies that came shortly after it, like Shrek. So it was kind of like this niche where we're turning a corner from classic Disney comedy movies that are geared towards kids to something like the whole family can enjoy and the parents can appreciate some of the humor in it as well.
It was just so quick. Like everything was just so like.
I love it.
Yeah.
So yes, Kuzco's very sad. We get a voiceover and he's like, they ruined my life for no reason. Let me tell you my story.
I'm just a good guy and they ruined my life for no reason. Minding my own business.
And so we get backstory on how Kuzco's just living that good life as the emperor, just chilling. He's like going down the row of girls, can have his pick. He has his own. Yes.
It literally feels like he's doing Pop the Balloon.
Yes.
Yeah.
Before Pop the Balloon.
Yeah. And it's like, he's when it goes from him like a baby and then he's not, like, he wants for nothing. His toy breaks, he cries immediately. Like, all the servants are like 10 other toys here. Like, he wants a pacifier, he wants his food, he wants his theme song guy. Like, he wants for nothing. So he's
right.
Like, spoiled brat. What made me laugh, it always makes me laugh, this part when he's like looking at the girls and he's like, let me guess, you have a great personality. It's like the same face, the same body,
just different
hair. And then there's one scene where he like turns and then there's one girl in the back and she looks at him and she's about to like bop him over the head. And then another girl's like holding her back from hitting him. It always makes me chuckle.
And so he has decided that his birthday present to himself is Kuzcotopia. So like a little water park situation.
It's a Schlitterbahn.
Yes, the Schlitterbahn of Peru. And so he's chosen the perfect hill. One small problem, there's a village on it.
People live there.
And so he summons, I guess, I don't know how Pacha, out of all of the people in the village, is like the one that has to go and talk to the emperor, but he's like summoned.
Oh, because he's the village
leader.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So he goes and he's just very sweet and he has like his little wagon because he's going to get supplies while he's in town, it seems like. And he's just like, hey, I got the summons. What's going on? And Kuzco doesn't like flat out say like, hey, I'm demolishing your town. He's just like, hey, like, what's the sun like on the side of this hill, blah, blah, blah. And Pacha's like, oh, it sings. It's perfect.
When the sun hits.
And then Kuzco's like, perfect. That's where my pool's going to go. By the way, y'all need to evict that hill. And Pacha's like, but we live there.
Right.
Where do we go?
Not my problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, girl.
Don't know, don't care.
We don't know her.
So Pacha's like, what the fuck? But he leaves. And as he's leaving, we also see we're introduced to Yzma and her henchman flavor of the week, Kronk. And Yzma is like, is she an advisor, I guess?
She's the emperor's advisor.
Yeah.
She's the Jafar of this situation.
Yeah. Yes.
But much like Jafar, she's not in alignment with Kuzco's golden spoon in his mouth, and she wants to rule the kingdom. And so her master plan is, we're going to kill Kuzco, and then I'll just take over.
That sounds solid.
Done.
I wonder what her plan was before, because she was already acting as if she was in charge.
Yeah.
And then Kuzco would catch her and be like, you're doing it again. And then he got tired of it and he was like, JK, you're fired.
Yes.
Right.
And so in her anger, she, like, when she's smashing the ceramic bust of Kuzco, she decides to kill him after deciding to turn him into a flea and then, deciding against it. But like, what was her original plan? Just to like keep pretending to be emperor behind his back?
Making decisions and hoping he's not going to say shit because he's just like a dumb teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was surprised when later in the movie we find out he's 18.
Yzma is like, hey, Kronk, we gotta poison Kuzco and kill him and then get rid of the body. Bet? And Kronk's like, cool. They invite Kuzco to dinner and Kronk is supposed to slip the poison in Kuzco's drink. And what Kronk fatally fails to realize is that the wrapper was folded down to look like death potion, but in reality, it was llama potion.
It was extract of llama.
Extract of llama. So, question, and it could be rhetorical: is Yzma a sorceress? Is she a witch? Is
She's
it
a scientist?
Okay.
Because she has her secret lair that everyone knows about.
Right. And a roller coaster
A roller coaster.
better than the Regal movie theater one.
Right?
A lab. She has a coat.
Yeah.
She has levers.
Levers. I just think she used the power of science.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was a woman in STEM.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Love it. Love to see it.
A woman in a male-dominated field.
Yes. So you can see, so Kuzco passes out and they're like, yes, death. And then he like pops up and starts to transform into a llama. And Yzma's like, you're the dumbest man alive. Kuzco, or Kronk. And so then he has to dispose of the body. And she's like, just throw it in the river, bag him up, throw him in the river. He'll drown, whatever. Kronk, just like my well-written paper explained, has a conscience. So he's like, I can't just like kill this man. And so he's I can't remember what does he want to do with the body? What was his plan?
He's like, after convincing Yzma to have coffee and dessert, and he takes out the body, he's just kind of like bumbling around town, pretending to be sneaky with the bag over his shoulder with his theme song. And so who knows what he was going to do, but he eventually finds the bridge with the waterfall, and he's conflicted about it, but inevitably lets it go.
Yeah. But then it falls into Pacha's wagon, unbeknownst to Pacha. And so Pacha forlornly heads home to tell the village we have to move somewhere else, and has Kuzco along for the ride. So Kuzco finally wakes up and is like, he doesn't realize he's been transformed into a llama. So he's having a convo with Pacha, and Pacha's like, hold on, brother.
He's like, do this.
You have hooves. And then we get, demon llama where? And then the llama face.
Llama face, his little feet just like kicking in the dirt.
And so now Kuzco's a llama, and Pacha has to figure, and Kuzco's like, you have to take me back to Yzma. She'll fix me. Because he doesn't realize, like, Yzma is the one who's done this to you.
Right.
And Pacha's like, no, you just told me you're going to fucking demo my village. Like, I'm not taking you back. And so Kuzco's like, okay, I'll save your village, but like, hooves crossed.
Yeah. Kuzco's like, I can do it on my own. And he just goes into the wilderness on his own. But like, really quick, just a shout out to Pacha's wife being immediately over Kuzco's shit. And Pacha's like, well, he's the emperor, he's busy. And she's like, no, if it was me, I would have gone up there, given him a piece of my mind. And I just respect her so much.
Oh, she is a real one.
She's a real
this movie, for a Disney movie made in the 2000s, such strong female characters.
Yeah.
One of the first pregnant female characters. Yeah. She doesn't die or get killed. And she's not an absentee mother. When Yzma and Kronk eventually show up at her house, she's like, bet, like, I don't need no man to save my house from these yahoos. Me and the kids got plans.
Right.
So now Pacha and Kuzco are on their way back to the palace to get Kuzco changed back. And at the same time, Yzma and Kronk are now on the way to the village to try and get Kuzco to finish the job. So then we see a bunch of antics. There are jaguars at one point.
When Kuzco ventured off on his own, he was like, I can do it. I'm the emperor. I have a great sense of direction. Immediately gets lost.
Yes.
And then he's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? There's a squirrel, the squirrel, trying to be nice to him. And Kuzco, of course, is like being a dick to the poor squirrel. So then the squirrel's like, oh, okay, bet. Blows a little balloon. The jaguars are sleeping. And then they wake up and they start attacking Kuzco.
Yes.
And then that's when Pacha rescues Kuzco.
Yeah. So now they're in this together. Is this about the time that they have to do the back-to-back thing on the cliff?
Yes.
Yes, because they go over the waterfall and then Pacha has to administer CPR. And Kuzco was like, why did you kiss me? And Pacha's like, I saved your life. And so they have a little argument again. And Kuzco, this is a scene that made me think of our Disney dinner, because like they got into an argument and Pacha's like, I'm not taking you back unless you promise to, you know, not destroy my village. And Kuzco's like, no, I want my Schlitterbahn. And so Pacha's like building a fire and Kuzco gets mad at him and like throws a rock at him. And then he's like, what? Somebody's throwing something. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. And then it's around that time that they're like walking across the bridge.
Yeah. And the bridge collapses and they fall into like a ravine and they have to go back to back and start walking back up to save themselves. So teamwork, we're building connections. We end up at the diner. They have to dress Kuzco up as Pacha's wife to go in. And Kronk somehow decides that the kitchen needs help and becomes
the chef,
a line order cook. The happy birthday song is sung. And then we get the pill bug, Slurpee pill bug special. And then Kuzco goes into the back to talk to the chef. And while he's back there, Pacha overhears Yzma and Kronk talking about how they need to catch and kill Kuzco. Yeah. And so he's trying to warn Kuzco of this, but Kuzco's like, no, she's like my advisor. Like, she's not going to do that. You're just trying to trick me so that I save your village.
Yeah.
Not falling for it.
Side note, Kuzco's when he's in his little getup and it's like the coat over him with his little bonnet. Whenever I look at Scarlett and she's walking around with her blanket over her, I think of Kuzco just in his little like coat shimmying. It's like the cutest thing ever. Yeah, and then Kronk is trying to place Pacha at the diner, and he keeps bringing up all these scenarios, and he's like, were you in that dance class with me? Pacha's like, no, I don't know you.
I've never seen him.
So at the end, Kuzco finally overhears when they leave the diner. After Pacha's like, fine, be on your own, he overhears Kronk and Yzma talking about like, we should have just killed him. And Kronk's like, yeah, nobody really cares that he's gone.
Sometimes the truth hurts, Kuzco. And so then that's when they realize Yzma and Kronk are headed to Pacha's house. And Pacha's like, I have to save my family. And so they head back, but the family already has it handled. And so then there's a race back to the palace. And someone pointed out it's like a little, Kronk and Yzma are like literally in a plot hole because they end up back at the palace before Pacha and Kuzco.
I like that part so much that they're like, well, don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's like those like little meta moments are just like, this movie does not take itself seriously at all. And kind of calls it out on its own shit, which I really enjoy.
Like initially the scene where Pacha's like coming back from talking to the emperor and he's sitting alone with his thoughts and it's getting like really sad and somber. And then it cuts and Kuzco as the llama's like, about me, like what are we doing here, and has to like switch the story back to focus on him. It's so funny.
And then there's a scene where it just focuses on a monkey eating a bug, and apparently that is a subtle reference to one of the opening shots of Citizen Kane. During the opening montage of the Xanadu estate, there's a similar shot of a pair of monkeys eating bugs, so they know their film history. So now we're back at the palace, and Kuzco's trying to find the potion to make him back human. There's lots of fights over potions. Yzma at one point gets turned into a cat.
Can I tell you one of my favorite, well, obviously this whole thing is my favorite part, like the entire movie. One of my favorite parts is when they're like fighting, and then Yzma calls in the guards, and Kuzco's like, but I'm the emperor. And so all the potions just like fall and then it explodes and they all get turned into different animals. And And there's the one guard that's just like, I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home? And he's just like, you're excused. And he just like shuffles away. And then she looks at it and she's like, anyone else? And they're like, nope, we're good. And it's like an octopus. But that whole, my coworkers and I, whenever we're just like done with work at one of my old jobs, we'd be like, I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home?
And they're fighting now that Yzma is a cat. Now they're fighting over the human potion.
Yeah,
she was such a cute kitty cat,
right? I love her. Is that my voice?
My voice. I'm going to drink it.
And then voice. I will kill you. And so eventually Kuzco is turned back into a human. Yay. And there's a point where you think he may not have learned his lesson, because instead of just telling Pacha like, no, we're good, he's like, yeah, I was on that hill and I didn't hear it singing. So I'm going to build my shit on the next hill over.
Yeah.
And so Pacha and Kuzco become BFFs. And
love that for them.
Right. Yeah. And they get to go to Kuzcotopia. And that is The Emperor's New Groove.
We missed a part.
Okay, tell us.
Where, well, in the forest, when they're looking for Kuzco, they run into the squirrel. Yes. And the squirrel is trying to tell them, and Yzma is so dismissive of the squirrel. And Kronk, being the kind soul that he is, feels that he was a junior chipmunk. So he speaks squirrel. And so he's trying to have his little squeakity squeaker conversation with the squirrel. And then Yzma's trying to like eavesdrop, and he's like, he doesn't want to talk to you.
And he tells her to go like, farther away.
Yeah.
And she's like, is this better? And you can hear the squirrel go.
So at the end, you know, Kuzco and Pacha are BFFs, and then it cuts to like Kronk leading a new troop of junior chipmunks, teaching them, did you eat the acorn? You owe me a new acorn. And then Yzma in her cat form, in her little like Boy Scout uniform, is with her acorn.
Squeaker, squeak, squeak,
squeak, squeaking.
And yeah.
Yay!
Woohoo! Any outstanding questions that we can answer for you, Danielle?
No.
Okay.
Do we need to recite the whole movie verbatim for you? Because I know you love it.
As much as I know you two want to do that, I would like to go to sleep tonight. What else? Let's see. What fun facts do we got that we missed? Many of Kronk's pauses, his side comments, and even confused reactions came directly from Patrick, leaning into his obviously natural comedic timing, which
makes sense.
Yeah.
And in addition to that, when Kronk hummed his own theme song, Disney's legal department had Warburton sign all rights to the humming composition over.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
You wanted to grab one, Laura?
Let's see. Oh, we already talked about, Pacha's wife. Oh, Kuzco was named after the ancient capital of the Incas, Kuzco.
Huh.
It still exists in the Andes Mountains in southern Peru.
Interesting.
And Pasha's name means earth in the Incan language. This could refer to his round shape, his green poncho, and or his down-to-earth personality. He's a Taurus for sure.
It did make me really happy that they specified, like, it's not knitting, it's crocheting.
Yes. Oh, is that wool?
Is that wool? My wife made it.
And this was John Goodman's first Disney movie. He would later appear in the Monsters, Inc. franchise, The Jungle Book 2, and The Princess and the Frog, all of which are also animated.
Who would have thought?
Right?
And this is the third Walt Disney Animation Studios film from the experimental era.
I wonder what the first two are.
So what is it? Treasure Planet, isn't it? Or
I would
that
think
come
Atlantis
after?
and Treasure Planet, but I wonder
Atlantis, Treasure Planet, Hunchback of Notre Dame, this movie, or Notre Dame, I don't know how you say it. What other movies did I not see? Can't recall.
Oh, here we go. Fantasia 2000.
Ugh. Why would you make a sequel to that?
Dinosaur.
Uh-huh.
The Emperor's New Groove. Atlantis came the next year in 2001. Lilo and Stitch and Treasure Planet in 2002. Brother Bear 2003. Home on the Range 2004. Chicken Little 2005. They were banging movies out in this era.
Why is all... So here is my question. Why are so many of the movies that are people of color, are they spent as animals? You have this, Princess and the Frog. Doesn't that happen to Brother Bear with Native Americans?
Yes.
I've never seen that movie.
And what else? I'm trying to think. I'm gonna just throw it out there. Just Scottish.
Yeah.
They're not people of color, but I claimed them. They got red hair.
Were the Scottish colonized? I know the Irish were.
I'm gonna say maybe, probably. If anybody's close to England, you're about to get colonized. If you're far away from England, you're gonna get colonized. So I'm gonna say yeah, probably.
Fair.
But isn't that weird?
It is really weird.
Well, it's not weird. We know it's weird, but we know why.
It's interesting and not a fun,
a good
interesting way.
Yeah. So before we dive into present day ratings, don't forget to hit us up at No More Late Fees on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Threads, and Blue Sky. I think we've joined a few more platforms, but I can't think of them right now.
No worries.
We'll start with you, Laura. What is your today rating of Emperor's New Groove?
Again, no shock here. Would buy it again. I love this movie. It's cinematic gold, in my opinion.
Jamesies, love it, treasure it, always downloaded to my devices.
So another would buy it again.
Yes.
I guess the real question is, where do I land?
Yeah.
Yes, Danielle, what did you think of The Emperor's New Groove?
I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. I would buy it. I think if I go and look in my VHS chest, it might actually be in there because my mom gave me all of the Disney VHSs and the camshells for my era, but I think she included whatever my brother and sister had, and I have to imagine they've seen this.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I might already own it. Who knows?
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
I wasn't hesitant about it. I just knew I hadn't seen it, and I saw clips, and Eartha Kitt's in it, so like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, if you have opinions about The Emperor's New Groove, hit us up at our quick drop 909-601-6653. You can text us there or call into our voicemail. You can twat us at the Twitter, time us at Threads, Butterfly in the Sky at Blue Sky, and you can be featured on a future episode.
And join us next week as we trade in emperors for bomb shelters because we're going back in time, baby, with Blast from the past.
Woohoo! And thank you, Laura, for joining us.
Yay. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the sport in telling the story of The Emperor's New Groove to Danielle, who has never seen it until today.
You know I could have kept going, but...
And as always, be kind and rewind.